Hi, my name is Julia, and I'm an occupational therapy student. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what occupational therapy is before we get started with our group today. So, occupational therapy is really when an occupational therapist uses various strategies, activities, education methods, or other intervention ideas to help an individual who has decreased independence in any given occupation due to a diagnosis, which can be a mental health diagnosis or a physical diagnosis. Maybe this person has a disability or an injury that is causing them to have trouble participating in any occupation that is meaningful to them in their daily routine. And just to refresh as well, an occupation is any activity that somebody does in a day that makes up their daily routine. So an occupation can be anything from getting up in the morning to getting dressed to going to make breakfast to going to a social group to reading a book for a leisure activity to spending time with a family member and so on. And the occupational therapist helps an individual be able to do any of these things they're struggling with through using different strategies or activities or methods, as I mentioned earlier. So, for example, if somebody has anxiety and their anxiety heightens whenever they go to any type of group. So, but this is something that they want to be able to participate in, however, they just don't know how because they get so anxious and they just can't go. So, the occupational therapist to start might maybe have this individual meet maybe just one other resident or peer, and that way it's less group, but at least they're still interacting and getting that social time that is valuable to them. Then the occupational therapist maybe role plays with herself and another peer and practice this conversation and how to interact socially. Then the therapist might include some more people and keep building up until that person is comfortable and understands what's causing them anxiety, identifies those triggers, and then is able to go to group to the fullest extent that they want to. Or another example is if an individual has MS and they really struggle with getting dressed in the morning because they get very fatigued easily from going to their dresser, to their closet, and walking around and standing up and putting on a shirt and pants, etc. The occupational therapist maybe adapts the way they're dressing, the environment in which they're in when they're dressing, how their body is positioned, whether they're standing or sitting while they're dressing. So, for instance, the OT may implement that the person gets a shirt and then sits down and puts the shirt on, maybe rest before putting on their pants, then does that, and so on. So maybe breaking the dressing into smaller chunks with energy conservation methods such as sitting down to get dressed, or maybe taking a minute in between each piece of clothing they're putting on. And while, yes, this will take longer, the individual would be less fatigued and save energy, that way being able to continue on with the rest of the occupations they need to participate in throughout the day. So really, overall, it's kind of a little quick conclusion. Occupational therapy really is just an occupational therapist using various methods or strategies or activities, interventions to help an individual increase their participation in any occupation that is meaningful to them and enhances their quality of life. Thank you.